So, hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. Last week, we had a really good session about charitable remainder trust and 664 and the power of the charitable remainder trust, how to work with them, how to make them efficient, how to make them economically sound, and how they can help you increase your income, reduce your taxes, and do something great for the community. And we're trying to educate the public. We want the public to be able to understand how all of this works. And we've created an academy. The Discovery 664 Academy is now available. It is ready to be attended by those who want to learn more about charitable remainder trusts, charitable pooled income funds, and charitable gift annuities, and how they can work to lower your taxes and improve your income. That's the main thing. Income is what we all strive for, we all need. Wealth is great, but if it's not producing any income, it's not as valuable. Trust me. You can't eat dirt. You can own all the land in the world, but if it's not producing anything, it's not something that you can use. So income and financial planning around income is very important. The whole process of endowment engineering is how do you engineer an endowment for yourself, and then an endowment that's going to be left behind. It can be left to your children first, and then it can go to charity. You have a lot of options available to make the work that you're doing valuable to not only yourself, your children, and the community, but also to solve all the problems that we have. We believe that social charity, as we call it, is a solution that has to be considered and will be the way for us to improve our communities on a much greater basis without the intervention of government and taxes. Hopefully, we can reduce the national debt by doing this because we're going to eliminate government supporting non-governmental organizations, a lot of things that we want to do to make this work. And it's good to have a great financial advisor to help you along the way when you're doing these things. When we come back from our short break, we're going to be joined by Mark Willis. Mark is a financial planner, and we're going to talk to him about how he does his planning. We'll be right back.
Our protagonist, Jack, was a 65-year-old retiree who'd always been known for his offbeat sense of humor and love for numbers. He'd been searching for a way to support his community while securing his retirement income. One day, while browsing through the depths of the internet, Jack stumbled upon an article about tax code 664 and its potential benefits for charitable planning.
Hello, welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness.
Curious and excited, Jack decided to delve further into this mysterious code. He spent hours poring over tax law books and articles until he became a self-proclaimed expert on the subject. He'd tell his friends, "Who needs a doku when you've got tax codes to crack?" Armed with his newfound knowledge, Jack approached his financial advisor, Martha, and shared his idea of utilizing tax code 664 to set up a charitable trust. He was convinced that this strategy would benefit not only his retirement, but also his beloved community, particularly the revitalization of the local park. With a twinkle in her eye, Martha acknowledged Jack's enthusiasm and praised his resourcefulness. Together, they devised a plan to establish a charitable trust that provided Jack with a stable retirement income and directed the remaining funds towards renovating the park. Word of Jack's innovative approach spread like wildfire, inspiring others in the community to explore the potential of tax code 664. Soon, more and more people began implementing charitable planning strategies to support various community projects, ranging from building a new animal shelter to establishing a local art center. As Jack took his daily strolls through the newly renovated park, he couldn't help but smile. His tax code 664 adventure had not only secured his retirement, but also transformed the community in more ways than he could have ever imagined. With a wink and a grin, Jack would often say, "Looks like the joke's on boring retirement plans." Who knew tax codes could be so much fun? Who? Remember, your financial journey can be both impactful and entertaining when you explore the potential of charitable planning with tax code 664. Visit endowamerica.com. With the right knowledge and guidance, anyone can turn their dreams into a reality. Leave a lasting legacy that benefits generations to come. endowamerica.com. Plan, prosper, pass on. The power of 664.
And we're back. I'm joined now by Mark Willis. How are you, Mark?
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Yes, Mark is a CFP. He is a man on a mission. You're trying to change the way people view their financial planning. Very interesting concepts. What do you think is the nuts and bolts of the financial planning issue that people need to know about?
Well, you're right. The typical, and you said it on the open block there, that typically investment advisors are here to help you accumulate a big pile of money, and you can't eat dirt, as you said so well. So you're exactly right. Accumulation is great, but a great rate of return on a big pile of money is totally irrelevant to me as a financial advisor and as a human being. I cannot spend a rate of return at the grocery store. I can only spend income at the
That's
grocery
right.
store.
Why doesn't the public really have a handle on that? And is that something that has to do with the way they're educated? Where's the back? What's the problem with that? Where's the backstory?
Well, backstory, you probably could help us with this some too, but I'll just give you my 2 cents and fill in the gaps as you want to. We used to be a nation of savers. And in fact, before 1960, more than 70% of Americans kept more than the majority of their savings in annuities and insurance contracts. And then something happened in the 70s. I believe it was 1974, the ERISA Act of 1974, ERISA, where they passed a lot of legislation that pushed a lot of Americans into speculation. And we stopped having pensions and we started having 401ks. The first 401k, if I understand my history right, was around 1981, which means even though it's the quintessential retirement account today, the 401k as an account is so young. If it was a human person, it couldn't even retire yet.
It's not 61 yet, not
Yeah,
65 yet. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to look for things that have been around before the 401k that give me the same kind of guarantees of lifetime income that my grandparents could have had. In
Mhm.
fact, I was at a museum in Chicago. I live outside of Chicago, and I was downtown Chicago. And in the museum next to the University of Chicago, there's this Ancient Oriental Institute. And it's a fascinating museum if you're into that sort of thing. And I was walking along the halls of this museum, and there was this 20-foot long parchment paper. And I looked closely at the placard, and it said annuity contract 324 BC. And I was floored. I was not looking for this, it just happened to be there. But it very likely was some sort of pension or annuity contract for a soldier from like Alexander the Great or something. Just incredible that these tools have been
And
around for
that guy is
thousands of
still
years.
alive. It's
I'm sure he
amazing.
is. Yeah.
He's still
Still
he's
collecting.
he still wants his lifetime income. He's still around. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. His wife says, "You can't die yet. We
So
need another payment."
I remember as a kid, my when I was younger, my dad used to take me. He was in the insurance business. He was in. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me all right?
I can.
My dad was in the insurance business, and I used to go with him once in a while on interviews. And he used to sell one product. It was an endowment at age 65, and I'm going back, to the 50s and 60s. And it was just based on the fact that you paid a certain amount of money in, and at the end of the day, when you reached age 65, you got whatever it was you whatever amount you were purchasing.
Hmm.
And it was a real simple concept. Endowment was a term that was used, readily used in the industry. But nowadays, endowment has a completely different connotation to people. They don't even think about endowment in that sense. And I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, the change from really everybody was able to get a defined benefit plan, so they knew what they were going to have when they retired. It was told to them in advance, and it had to be actuarially sound. Now you've got a helter-skelter 401k arrangement where people not only don't know what they're going to get, but they can also attack it. And that's, I think, one of the issues that we find really important to protect against. That's what the charitable remainder trust actually is a great tool for that, the 664 trust. So do you use them much in your practice, the charitable remainder trust, or is it a specialty that you refer to other people, or how do you work?
Sure. I'm a certified financial planner and I work with clients in all 50 states to help them with comprehensive financial planning. The CRTs are incredible as a tool. Since I'm not an attorney, I don't set them up per se myself. I might call on you or someone like you as an expert to help with that. I'm simply there to help fund that trust and to help them, with their estate planning overall, but then, work with their attorney or whoever to make that that plan locked in and, notarized and all the good stuff there.
Hmm.
That's what we
Make it
do. But yeah,
legitimate.
absolutely. Yeah. So we've got probably several dozen clients that are doing CRTs and a number more, several hundred more that are doing different types of annuities for various reasons. Of course, we've got traditional retirement planning as well, but that's the bulk of what we love to do. I love seeing people. Just got off the phone with a couple. We were able to see that at their age 60, when they plan to turn on their annuity, they're going to have a
Mhm.
stream of income that they'll never outlive. Even if they run out of money, they'll never run out of income. You could
Yes.
hear the sigh of relief when they would hear that description. And contractually guaranteed income is something that's, a rare commodity in our world today.
They also they're protected against creditors. They're also protected against a lot of issues, market conditions, governmental conditions. Hopefully, the insurance company that's guaranteeing it is stable. But even if it wasn't, it is protected in a lot of ways. That's one thing
Mhm.
that most people are not really aware of with insurance contracts. If the insurance companies and life insurance companies in general, not in general, but in total, have never defaulted on their responsibilities. They've always made what they've guaranteed. So you use insurance products to help guarantee income in a predictable way. Is that pretty much how you view it?
It sure beats the alternatives. What are the alternatives for income and retirement? There's rental properties. We saw what happened during COVID in terms of rent moratoriums. There's bonds, which we saw what happened to bond values in the
Mm-hmm.
COVID pandemic and downturn of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Bonds went down in value. Folks thought that was not possible, but it certainly is. There's dividend paying stocks. Those are paying, on average somewhere around 2% a year. Not exactly
Mm-hmm.
efficient. And then what else do we have? Let's see, municipal bonds. I mean, could you think of any other like streams of income? There's obviously lots of alternative assets that could pay out certain income streams, but annuities
Well, people
uh,
could live on their principal, and that's one of
live off their
they could
principal.
they could live on their principal, Mark, and that's where the problem comes in.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I lunch
yeah.
with somebody the other day. He has $10 million in assets. He said, I'll never outlive it. I said, I wouldn't say that. You're spending about $500,000 or $600,000 a year right now. And he says, well, I don't want to leave. I want to spend my last dollar. I said, well, then you got to plan on dying at a certain time
That's
because you don't know
right.
when. It's a
Yeah.
it's a problem. Yeah, that's not
Your
the way to
last
do
couple
it.
of dollars should be hiring a hitman
So,
so you get taken out at the right time.
yeah, yeah, the mortality tables. Where are you located?
We're just outside of Chicagoland, in a little
Yeah.
town called St. Charles, Illinois, and our offices are there. We've been
Hmm.
here for a couple of years, and we've been in business since 2011. I can't believe it.
Well, time flies when you're having fun. You like
Yeah.
what you're doing, obviously.
It's a lot of fun. Every chance I get to see somebody's financial goals met without taking a bunch of unnecessary risk, it's what I love doing all day long.
So you trying to find a way to help people that most people aren't really aware of, in a sense. Most of the financial planners in the country don't think the way that you think in terms of what will solve the problem. As a CFP, I think your training is much more in line with securing a future and not just being a stock jockey or somebody who's trying to show you how to grow your wealth. So, what's the best piece of advice you would give to young people today if you had a couple that came in that were in their 30s and they said, Mark, we see what's going on in the world today. There's a lot of inflation. There's some uncertainty. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. What would you tell those young people as the first three or four things that they should recognize?
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to discuss with someone just coming in, and they have a lot of potential and maybe a lot of earning power in their future. So, the first thing I'd say is you are your greatest investment. So, invest in yourself, figure out how you can be the most valuable you can be to your boss or your business or whatever it is that you're doing to add value to the marketplace. Second, got to master Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law says that expenses will rise to meet your income. Okay, so that means you got to master that. You got to be able to live on less than you make and sock away as much as you can. I told a young couple earlier this afternoon, do it until it hurts a little bit. Save until it's a challenge. You need to be kind of breaking a sweat a little bit when you're saving money. And then I said that there's a distinction between saving and investing. Investing is putting money away that you can afford to lose.
Mhm.
Saving is putting money away that you cannot afford to lose. And there is a distinction there. And
Mhm.
then the final thing I'd say briefly is that there are three phases to every financial plan. And most investment planners only think about the first phase. So the first phase is accumulate, build that mountain, climb up Mount Retirement, get to the big pile of money, right? Get to the top of the mountain. I don't know if you've ever climbed a mountain. My wife and I climbed up Mount Fuji a few years ago,
Really?
and I've got the little walking sticks over here to as we walked up that mountain. It was hard to do,
Mhm.
and we got to our spot at the top, and we loved the view and everything. But then we had to come back down.
Yeah.
And so that's the part that most investment advisors forget about. There's two more steps. The second step after accumulation is preserve your money.
Mhm.
And then the third is distribute.
Mhm.
You got to distribute. And most investment planners and stock jockeys, like you mentioned, have never been trained on how do we get this money safely back into my client's pocket. In fact, they're incentivized to not distribute your money to you. Think about the words assets under management.
Yes.
It's your assets under their management. And
Mhm.
so if you're asking your stock jockey to give you the money out of your account, that's less commissions to them. That's going to ultimately be a hard thing for them to want to tell you to do. They're going to find other ways to get you to not spend your money in retirement. Not to mention, there's no guarantee that you'll ever have money in their accounts. You
Mhm.
might outlive the money, like you mentioned, or there might be a
Mhm.
market correction at the wrong time. Like
Mhm.
going down Mount Fuji, if there was an earthquake, I'd be in big trouble at the top of that mountain. So the
For
idea
sure.
of having an annuity, and you've got some great tools with a 664 trust, with anything in the CRT realm. If you're able to get a steady stream of income to you and give charitably to people and causes and charities that you care about, it's an unbelievable, nitro and glycerin tax strategy, income strategy. It's something I wholeheartedly recommend for folks to at least explore as an option.
Well, I appreciate that, you know your business, and it's important for people to find good financial planners who can take them through all of the different varieties of what they can do, but with certain goals in mind. And preserving the capital is important. I would say somebody's got to slap your hand when you go into the 401k jar.
That's right.
You can't accumulate money for retirement, and then when crises come about, you spend it on an emergency, and then wonder why at the end of the day you're not going to have what you need to retire on. Not that a 401k is going to solve everybody's problem. Unfortunately, those things have limits. My guest is Mark Willis, and Mark is a CFP and practices in around the Chicago area, but also is open to clients anywhere in the country. So if you want to reach Mark, we'll have his information on the Chiron. And we thank you for joining us today, Mark. When we come back, we're going to talk about something that Mark was touching on. When you're working with some financial brokers, they don't want to let go of the assets. They want their assets under management, and they encourage you to do things like donor advised funds, which are good things. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thank you.
Exciting news. The Discovery 664 Academy podcast is live on Spotify. And if you're not following us there yet, you're missing out. We're dropping new episodes every week, so don't miss out on more of the most powerful strategies to grow wealth through charitable planning. This is what we're all about on this program. When you tune into the Discovery 664 channel, you're going to see podcasts that will enlighten you and keep you up to date on how to deal with your charitable financial planning and to do the best job you can to build yourself your own 664 account. That's what's the end result of what we're trying to do here. We want you to endow yourself and then endow the community. That's what the bargain was when Congress gave us these laws in 1969. Do something good for the community when you pass, and we'll give you lower taxes while you're alive. That's what the bargain is, and that's all we're trying to teach you. Go to the 664 Discovery channel and find out more.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yep. And we're here live, and I don't ever want to do another interview with my phone because it looks like I only have a head.
Hey, technology.
The big head
Well, it's
How
all
are
right.
you, Wanda?
You're a very smart guy, so there's a lot in there. Need space.
Big brain, big head.
Yeah.
So
I'm good. How are you?
everything's good, yeah.
Great.
We were going to talk about donor-advised funds, and I think it's a good topic because donor-advised funds are very popular. They actually have become the largest charities in the world. The Fidelity Gift Fund and the Merrill Gift Fund, all the donor-advised funds that are part of the investment world that it was created quite a while ago, actually, and now not that long ago, considering where they are today as far as charities are concerned. But they are the largest, and what is the driving force is that the representatives have told their clients that if they want to make a gift to charity, they can use stock before they sell it, gift the stock to a donor-advised fund, and you can build a large tax deduction in any particular year, and then you can distribute that money as you see fit going forward in the future and give it to whatever charities you want to give it to over time. And but you get a tax deduction in the year that you create the big gift. So the problem with that is that a lot of that money doesn't get distributed. And there's a lot of money sitting in those donor-advised funds that could be used by charities for work that charities are doing.
Ooh.
So we encourage you to, if you have donor-advised funds, don't be shy with that. Start to distribute that. That money is there for charitable use, and so we want to make sure that you're getting it out. Just keeping it there and accumulating it is not gonna solve problems in the country. And what we're doing with 664 and with Social Security,
Yes.
is to try and solve the world's problems.
By educating.
By educating.
And just telling folks, all about it. Read all about it.
Yep. And you have a great book, Social Security. You can get it on Amazon.
You can go to our website too. I'd like you to, while you're there, you can get the book and get a lot of stuff done in one fell swoop.
And that's Discovery 664 and endowamerica.com.
Yes, both
of those.
.coms. The .coms, yes.
So let's just talk a little bit about the world of charity to begin with. I want to, because I know you have a role with charity.
Well, I love charity. I love people helping people. I'm all about that. So
Yes.
we've recently started interviewing more nonprofits to try and, because if that's where your money's going to go, I think people should know who's out there and, have an idea of who you might like to help.
Mm-hmm. And
I
I
love
see
the animals.
charity. I see charity
Oh,
is
yeah.
one of the things that we're doing now with the with podcasts on YouTube, right? And I think we're going to have some features with just talking about charity, where you're going to talk about that.
Yeah. And if you are part of a charity or you have a charity and you'd like to be featured on the program, please contact us. Leave your information below or find us. Go to the website. There's all many places. So just find it.
We're very open to your comments. We want to know what you think about what we're doing. We're trying to change the world a little bit, a lot, not a little bit. We want to end the debt. We want to change the world, change America from being an indebted America with $36 trillion in debt to an endowed America, and that can be done if we do it systematically using what government gave us in 1969, and that was Section 664. Section 664, we call it Social Security for a reason, because it's a lot like Social Security. They sound alike, and they are alike. Social Security and Social Security were both given to us by the federal government to allow us to create endowment income. One is where the government controls it, and the other one is where you have some control over it. You can create your own 664 trust, your own Social Security account, and you can build that to whatever you want to build it to produce whatever amount of income you want to produce. And that is a total freedom, and also an extremely disciplined way of creating a savings account that you actually are using for savings. As Mark was talking about in the interview, he said, you need to save money that you are not going to risk. Investment is different. That is money that you can afford to lose, but savings needs to be done and protected. And one of the things that's unique about 664 trusts is it allows you to save money, save your assets. You can use non-liquid assets in your savings and using them before they're converted. And you actually are saving the capital gains tax. You don't have to pay any tax when you do it that way. You get a tax deduction by doing it this way, and you accumulate money in that savings account, in that 664 savings account, that will eventually produce the income that you need for retirement or to help retirement. And it can be unlimited. That's a great feature of Social Security that is not in Social Security. Social Security is limited. Government tells you what you're going to get, the maximum that you can get, the maximum you can put in. Not so with Social Security. So it's very, very, very liberal in the terms of what you can do. And then by doing that, you'll eventually create an endowment that you're going to leave behind. Social Security has an endowment that you leave behind, but you never direct it anywhere. You don't have any control over that. The government takes that money all that money you put in when they no longer paying you your Social Security benefits because you passed, they get to distribute that the way that they want to. And that's different than you having control over where it goes. And if you control that into your own community, you can make a community a better place to live. You can have free hospital, you can have free daycare center, free healthcare, adult care centers. You can provide all the things that the community needs and actually
that you love. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. And share your love with the community. Show that you care about the place that you live in and the place that the other people that are there. And that's a wonderful feeling.
We talk a lot about helping, finding your genius, right? And I think another great thing about 664 is that you get to think about it and concentrate on what makes you really happy and what would you like to leave as a way to show your love for the world or for the things that it's, that whole love of humanity thing, which is what philanthropy means.
Yeah. Thinking about what you're going to do when you're not here, in a sense. And that's really a beautiful thing for people to think about. Hopefully you're thinking about that because you're free of worries and stress yourself. And that is also a part of the planning process. You want to be able to get to the point where your giving attitude is greater than your getting attitude. And I think that's something that is vital to all of us. And I think we would all be happier with regard to that. I think we wouldn't have as many issues. And I do want to talk about the plan that we had in our white paper, and that really is a part of this, because in order to transition from Social Security to the Social Security concept, to make that transition between Social Security and Social Security, you have to have a way of doing that over time without interfering with what people are entitled to today, but create a new device. And that's why we wanted to do that with the younger generation. What our objective was to create employment for 18-year-olds, a male or female, where the state would employ them for 2 years, kind of in similar to ROTC or the Reserve Army, Reserve Officer Training Corps they do in the college. You can go into a military vein, but you don't have to do that. What you want to do is you want to go in. You're going into this process to be employed, to become independent, and to get your own feelings about what you can and are best served doing. And that's one of the things that we can accomplish by making this a kind of a mandatory arrangement.
I was a candy striper when I was in high school.
I love
Do they do that anymore?
Yeah, they do.
Candy stripers?
Yeah.
Just, some time and some service, and figure out, it gives you a little time to figure out what you want to do.
Yep. Serve the community for 2 years. And it can become also credits for 2 years of college, and maybe that would solve some of the problems about, having affordable education and higher education. You also learn the trades. A lot of things can be done. This is Route 664, the road to human kindness, and that's what we're all about. Get to human kindness.
You can become an endowment engineer at discovery664.com.
Beautiful. Thank you, folks. See you again.